The house was a steal. Seriously, a beautiful two-story colonial overlooking a quiet, tree-lined road, and I got it for a price that made my realtor blush. The old highway's been decommissioned for years, he'd said, gesturing out the panoramic living room window. All you'll hear are the birds. And for the first week, he was right. The silence was a symphony after years of city living. I'd sit in my armchair, watching the sun dip below the hills, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. The old stretch of asphalt below, cracked and webbed with weeds, remained perfectly still. Then, on the 8th night, I saw it. I was getting ready for bed, just about to draw the curtains, when a pair of bright, white lights cut through the darkness. They swept across my wall, a familiar dance of headlights. I froze, my hand hovering over the cord. A car? On the old highway, I leaned closer to the glass, squinting into the night. The lights glided smoothly down the road, silent as a ghost. There was no engine roar, no crunch of tires on gravel, just the silent passage of light. I watched them until they disappeared around the bend, my heart thumping a little faster than usual. It was strange, but I figured it must be some local taking a shortcut, maybe an electric vehicle. I shrugged it off and went to bed. The next night, it happened again. Same time, just after 11, two beams of light slicing through the inky blackness. This time, I was ready. I pressed my face to the cool glass, trying to make out the shape of the vehicle. But there was nothing. It was like the lights were detached, floating a few feet above the pavement. They moved with an unnatural smoothness, no bouncing or jostling from the broken road. And again, absolute silence. No engine, no tires, just the eerie, silent procession. A chill that had nothing to do with the night air crawled up my spine. I started to wonder if my realtor had left out a few key details about my new, quiet neighborhood. By the 4th night, I was obsessed. I set up my phone to record, propping it against the window pane. I brewed a strong pot of coffee and sat in my armchair, waiting. The house felt bigger in the dark, the usual creaks and groans sounding more like whispers. Right on schedule, the lights appeared. My breath hitched. They swept across the room, who'st as before. I watched them on my phone screen and through the window, a bizarre dual reality. They moved down the road and vanished. I immediately played back the recording. My living room was there. The dark silhouette of the trees was there. But the road was empty. The headlights hadn't shown up on the video at all. It was just 10 seconds of pure, unadulterated darkness. My logical mind scrambled for an explanation. A reflection. A weird atmospheric phenomenon. But it happened every night, at the same time, following the exact same path. I spent the next day doing some research. I went to the town's historical society, a dusty little building run by a woman named Eleanor. When I told her where I lived, her friendly smile tightened to just a fraction. The old Miller house, she said. Beautiful view of the highway. I mentioned the strange lights, trying to sound casual. Eleanor's eyes clouded over. She told me a story from 60 years ago, a story about a young couple, driving home on that very highway on a foggy night. They were celebrating their anniversary. They never made it home. Their car went off the road near the bend, and they were never found. Just gone. After that conversation, the nights took on a new, heavy dread. I wasn't just watching lights anymore. I was watching for asterisk. The asterisk. I started to see things, or maybe my mind was playing tricks on me. A flicker in the passenger side light, like a brief silhouette. A momentary dimming, as if the driver had glanced in my direction. The silence was no longer peaceful. It was heavy with unspoken stories, with an eternal journey that never reached its destination. I thought about moving, about selling the house and forgetting I ever saw a thing. But a strange sense of duty kept me there, as if I was the only one left to witness their nightly passage. One evening, driven by a mix of fear and a desperate need for answers, I did something reckless. Just before 11, I went outside. The air was cold and damp. I walked to the edge of my property, my heart hammering against my ribs. I stood there, by the crumbling shoulder of the old highway, and waited. The woods around me were a wall of impenetrable black. Then, down the road, The lights appeared. They grew brighter and brighter, coming right for me. The silence was the most terrifying part. It was absolute. The beams washed over me, cold and brilliant, and for a split second, in the heart of the light, I thought I saw a shape, the outline of a vintage car, the faint figures of two people inside, their faces turned toward the road ahead, forever driving. And then they passed. The light swept over me and continued on its silent journey down the highway, leaving me alone in the sudden, crushing darkness. I stood there for a long time. The image burned into my mind. I wasn't scared anymore. I was filled with a profound sadness. They weren't ghosts meant to haunt. They were hosts, lost, stuck in a loop, forever driving toward a home they would never reach. I walked back to my house and up to the window. I didn't close the curtains. I still live here. Every night, just after 11, the lights come. They pass my window, and I watch them go. I don't try to record them anymore. I don't try to understand it. I just bear witness. In a way, the realtor was right. It is quiet here, but it's never really dark. And I've come to realize that some things aren't meant to be explained, just acknowledged. I'm the keeper of the lights on the old highway, the silent observer of a journey that never ends. And maybe, in some strange way, they know I'm watching. Maybe my presence here, night after night, is a small comfort on their lonely road. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any stories like this, I'd love to read them in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more mysteries. See you next time.